All right, let's talk about Logan Hall. He was the first overall pick in the second round last year by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their first round selection, who a lot of people were very high on, but it did not work out so well in year one. So first, let's look at his, this chart right here. These are his Pro Football Focus grades each of the last 3 seasons that he was in college, and then we'll get into some film in a bit. But first, we're starting off here because, I think it's important to look at this stuff when evaluating where, a player is currently at, looking at it. The numbers weren't amazing year one. They weren't really bad either. They were, or year one, in college, I meant to say. They weren't terrible either, but they were kind of solid. And, it is worth noting that typically you like to see guys get better every year they were in college. That did not happen with Logan Hall, at least according to PFF grades. He actually got a little bit worse in 2021, although had a lot more just snaps, had about 150 more snaps, which makes sense that you would see a slight dip in his play. So I wouldn't take too much into account, but okay, those are his PFF grades. But I think what's more interesting is when we get into some splits. If you look at his, his grades and specific things and comparing it to the rest of college players at his position, the further to the right that dot is in each of these things, the better he was compared to the rest of college. So the pass rush stuff was great. So for an interior defensive lineman who was only 280 pounds, it does kind of make some sense that he would be a really good pass rusher, but the run defense grade, not quite as good. Now, again, very good when he was in a true pass set, very good, pass rush win rate in general. Run stop rate was still good. Again, the run defense and run stop rate were still good, but he was definitely known for being a pass rusher from the inside. And I think it's possible some Tampa Bay fans might be saying, wait, hold on. Didn't we just draft a guy who is undersized and a pass rush specialist from the inside this past year as well in JKS? But they're very different prospects, and I'll get into why in just a second. But you look at his Pro Football Focus grades from last year. Again, I know not everyone loves PFF grades, but I think they do a really good job with defensive linemen, especially, I should say. His grades were just a disaster last year. I mean, just a complete disaster. A 36.4 grade. The run defense was just basically non-existent, a 30.2. The pass rush grade, still not good, but at least a manageable, 50.4. He tackled okay and played, I guess, fine enough coverage as an interior defensive lineman. But really, the run defense was a mess, and the pass rush was not very good either. So, okay, did not have a good rookie year, but what do we make of that? And I actually think the better thing to talk about would be what his college tape was. Let's go over to a play like this, because I think this could do a good job of showing a couple things. One, why he was so effective in college, why he ended up being nearly a first-round pick, the 33rd overall selection, but also why it maybe hasn't worked out in the NFL. I think it actually kind of, talking about one, you have to talk about the other at the same time. They kind of are all together, because what's going to happen on this play is it's going to be a running play to the offense's right, and you see where he is on the screen. The left guard's going to block him one-on-one, but watch what he's going to do here. Right off the bat, watch that first step and how the offensive lineman is already out of position a little bit. He's already a little bit further off, and because of that, this is where I think Logan Hall can really thrive, and it's really thrived a lot in college because, we talk about the undersized interior defensive lineman. For someone like JKS, he sort of uses his undersizedness to his benefit. He uses his footwork, he uses his quickness to get to the quarterback and things like that. Logan Hall, that is not how he plays his game. He tends to get his wins through power, which you're going to see here. Watch how with the offensive lineman not having the hand placement he wants, Hall just completely overpowers him and is eventually able to get to the running back and get a tackle right there. That is how Hall got most of his wins in college, which is why he was such a unique prospect. When I made my evaluation on him, I believe that in the title of the video, it said most unique prospect or something like that, because that's how I viewed him, was someone who was very unique, and I still liked him as a prospect, but it was just a question, but how well is this going to work at the NFL level, which I think is a lot of why he wasn't a first rounder. And now, just to be clear, let's go over to this play. It's not like he wasn't able to win at all using hands or anything like that. This is going to be him winning with hands. Watch, as you see, it's just a great technique move. If he uses his hands to get around the guard and then get to the quarterback for a sack, these things happen. But this is also part of what sometimes just makes it more difficult as an interior defensive lineman going into the NFL, and you do see it relatively frequently, which is your moves just don't work out as well at the NFL level. I mean, for someone who, again, you would use his hands sometimes or use his power a lot of times to try and win, well, when you're playing really strong guys who have really good hands themselves, it's hard to win. Like, this plays another example. Again, you see where he's lined up on the field. It's going to be a right guard who's going to be blocking him one-on-one. But watch how he really does not get, I mean, he's able to use his power and, really do a great job on that play, I would say, by being able to drive through and still make a play. So these are the kind of things that he was doing in college, but they're just not really working out at the NFL level. And again, his undersizedness is probably hurting him. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't draft undersized guys. And to be honest, I still haven't given up hope on Logan Hall, although I am a bit concerned because he was someone who, to me, was an experiment at the college level. That's kind of how I view him, or an experiment getting drafted out of the college level, I should say. Now, that's not to say that it can't work, but, I feel like when there's an experiment that doesn't work right away, you're probably a little bit more unlikely to have too much hope it'll work out better. If there's a restaurant that you've been to 100 times and then you go to, a very similar type restaurant, you're still probably going to expect it to be something that you will like. If you like if you like hamburgers and you've been to a bunch of hamburger restaurants and like hamburgers, if you go to a new hamburger restaurant, if it doesn't taste great that one time, you might be more willing to go back because, hey, maybe they just, they undercooked it or something. But if you have never had sushi before, and in your first time having sushi, you hate it, you're probably going to be less likely to go to another sushi restaurant or to go back to that sushi restaurant because you might just assume you don't like sushi altogether. Well, right now, that's the Logan Hall situation. So that's not to say he can't succeed, just that the first time we saw Logan Hall, it was not fantastic as a rookie. But again, there is a long list of players who had poor rookie years and have gone on to have great careers, so we'll see if he can add his name to that list. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on Logan Hall as a whole. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.